Gosh, it's been a long time. March of 2020. Right, we've had three. We've had three meetings, 3 or 4 meetings canceled during that time. But I just want to say on behalf of the board, thank you very much for you staff for keeping the lid on the tenants and the homeowners that we have. So thank you very much. You know. Y'all have done fantastic work, and we are collectively more than happy to take the credit for it. So thank you very much. All right? So with that, I'm going to again call the meeting to order. And the Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meetings are held the third Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. 1700 for those of us who want to talk real time. All right. All meetings are conducted at the PRHA's main office, 3116 South Street, Portsmouth. Unless otherwise noted, all members of the public are welcome to attend. So, Ms. Marshall, if you could give us a roll call, please.
Commissioner Barham. Commissioner Cost.
Here.
Commissioner Jiggets.
Present and here.
Commissioner Prince. Commissioner Wicks.
Here.
Vice Chair Roberts.
Here.
And Chair Lalonde.
Thank you very much. I'm here. Thank you very much. Thanks, Ms. Marshall. We're going to deviate just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and get a call on the minutes here. And then we've got a couple visitors here and there's deference of their time. I'm going to pass it in and then we'll go back to the agenda after we do that. So you should have in front of you the minutes from June 17th. I know there's been, I think it was sent out in advance and there was a couple of changes made to it. And with that in mind, is there any discussion about the minutes? Okay. If I could get a motion to approve the minutes of June 17, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Wicks. And a second. Thanks, Vice Chairman. All right. And we have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Marshall?
Commissioner Cost.
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggets.
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks.
Yes.
Vice Chair Roberts.
Yes.
Chair Lalonde.
Yes. And Mr. Bland, I'm going to turn it over to you for right now.
Okay, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Page to introduce, I guess.
Good evening. Resolution 2021-23 is asking your authorization or your permission to execute closing documents in relation to Lexington Place. That project, as you know, has been completed with respect to tenants moving in, and it's in the process of being converted to permanent financing. The resolution that's before you is asking for you to approve that conversion. As guests, we have, if there are any questions or if they wanted to provide some oversight, our attorneys from Reno and Kavanaugh, Jonathan Flugstad and Julie McGovern. So I'll pass it on to Jonathan if you've got comments.
Hi, good afternoon. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, very well. Thank you.
Okay, very good. So thanks very much for having us on. I'm joined by my colleague, Julie McGovern. And so this, as Mr. Page just stated, is basically we're requesting approval again for the conversion from construction to permanent financing for Lexington Place. And so the authority's affiliates are actually the owner entity and general partner of that of the partnership that owns that property. And back at the end of 2019, the authority actually passed resolution 2019-45 that authorized the closing of the construction financing, and it also recited generally recited the permanent financing. But then we also had counterpart resolutions for the partnership owner and the general partner of that entity that went into much greater detail with respect to the actual the different types of financing that were involved and numbers that were involved. And so we thought because our firm is issuing a number of legal opinions related to this, we wanted to make sure that we had no questions with respect to due authorization. So that's what this particular resolution is doing. It essentially is a carbon copy of the other resolutions, and it's updated obviously to reflect numbers, and that's really it. So if you have questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
Commissioners? Philip, elaborate a little bit. Does this excuse the affiliates? Does this give us greater power in the financing? Does it excuse the affiliates of any liabilities that happen?
No, there's not a material change related to that with any of the affiliates or PRHA. And as Jonathan mentioned, the very, very similar resolution has already been passed by this board. This really just kind of updates the numbers a little bit and gives a fresh resolution so that Reno and Kavanaugh can, render their opinion, which is required for this process.
Right, there aren't any material differences. In fact, the deal was cooked really back in 2019. So this is really, just sort of underscoring due authorization.
Right.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Ms.
What
Jacobs?
are the differences? You see, I hear you say there are little differences. What are the differences? If you would elaborate, please.
Well, for one, we've been able to, well, there's nothing material that's changed. What we've been able to do is, since all the documents related to the construction financing were recorded, we've been able to, recite those specific, book and page numbers for where documents are recorded, for example.
That's it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any dollar amounts that have changed?
No dollar amounts have changed. In fact, the VHDA loan, which is just over $6 million, that loan amount has been fixed since the commitment was received back in 2019 from VHDA.
And this is the permanent financing, taking out the construction line.
Correct.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to join us. We really appreciate, and Lexington is just beautiful. Just a beautiful piece of property. Thank you.
Glad to hear it. Thanks for having us.
I guess at this point, we're gonna vote on the resolution that we're gonna do. So I need a motion for resolution 2021-23, resolution of the Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority confirming its desire to execute closing documents and undertake obligations in connection with the permanent loan from Virginia Housing Development Authority in furtherance of the development of Lexington Place Phase 1. Need a motion?
So moved.
Yes, Commissioner Jiggets, and a second?
Second.
Yeah, Commissioner Wicks, thank you very much. Ms. Marshall?
Commissioner Cost?
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggets?
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks?
Yes.
Vice Chair Roberts?
Yes.
Chair Lamont?
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. That's good. That's good. Thank you. Let me, just think. Oh, okay. Excuse them?
We don't have anything
Okay.
else.
Excuse them? Okay. And, I guess Warren, if you can shut it down.
Okay, we'll sign off. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
Bye now.
Let's go back to the agenda and let's see if, I think the last time we met in person, last time we met in person, Ms. Costa, just to let y'all know, we were here for 3.5 hours. Okay, so we'll see how long this one goes. All right. But, as y'all know, I changed up the agenda a couple agendas ago to get more involvement by the commissioners, which I really appreciate. Even if there's no comment, that's still good, that you're at least someone engaged and there's not anything that's, I like to use the word material as a CPA, but this board, and more than anything else, was put y'all in touch again with some great people that work here, just great people. Things that I have on my mind for this particular meeting is I want to make sure the commissioners taking a real solid look at the conferences that are coming up. Mr. Bland gave us conferences between now and 2024. the topics are all different, all right? It is important that professionally, you know, you become engaged with I mean, the folks here, the staff here, trained, educated, provided that knowledge, and we do them service. We do them service by learning as much as they can about what they do. You're authorized, I think it's 5,000 a year, Shannon, 5,000 a year in travel expenses. So, please, you know, get together with Ms. Marshall and Mr. Bland if there's a conference you'd like to go to. I would encourage you to attend. Also, a couple of them have, training for everybody that you become a certified commissioner, and I would encourage you to do that. So, take a look at it. And again, it's nice that you got 3 years out. So if you got, family or relatives in a particular place, it's a great place for you to try and engage them. Dale Homes still remains top priority. Still remains top priority. I'm going to say, at least myself personally, I try to go out there at least twice a week just to drive through. I'm still terrified to go out there. I mean, I'll just call it the way it is. I'm still terrified. I've talked to Mr. Bland and Ms. Winston at length, and no disrespect. There's a tremendous amount of trash out there. Tremendous amount of trash. We in a way, we kind of did it to ourselves, and that's me talking. About 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we made the decision to take trash cans out and put dumpsters in. As you know, it was a cost-saving measure, a good cost-saving measure, all right? But residents are used to dumping their trash in a trash can, and now it gets just dumped wherever it can be dumped. And when you have that kind of environment, that's where it looks like they want to live in it. I know they don't want to. So Mr. Bland, Ms. Marshall have made it a priority to figure out how we're going to solve this. And trash cans, again, are the top thing they're looking for. And just make sure this is one that we're going to expend as much energy as we can to show those residents that we care, and we care enough for them about the area there. But man, there's just trash everywhere. All right, it's just frightening. With the heat, I'm not seeing anybody out. All right, but that doesn't mean we don't keep the pressure off. I'm still waiting. I had a meeting with the people that are selecting the new police chief. All right, I think there's a meeting on the 29th of June, a public meeting talk about the new police chief. They do have 4 candidates. I don't know their names, so I apologize for that. But they do have a committee made up of Nancy Perry from the museums, the fire chief, and the deputy city manager, Mr. Baldwin. Right now, the primary review committee of the 4. All right, but I would encourage us to at least keep our ear to the ground on who that new police chief is, because as I said before, we're not in the security business, but we'll support anybody who is. All right, and we need to keep the focus on there. Ms. Jenkins, are you going to be bringing up the resolutions on the write-offs?
Yes.
All right, we've got two resolutions coming off about the write-offs. They're as good as we could possibly get them during the COVID-19 period. There's one that I don't know if I'm gonna explain it right, but it's kind of a double-edged sword. Most of the write-offs on the public housing side are gonna come from Swanson Homes. And it's not because they didn't pay their rent, right? It's because they got better income, all right? And they didn't report their better income, okay? So it's one of those, you do better, we're gonna charge you more, all right? And now that you didn't report it, now we're gonna put you on the bad person list and go after you to collect it. Solution, MTW would be a perfect solution for those kind of folks. Be perfect. That way, you know, we're writing the rules on income, and we want to encourage people to do well. We want to encourage the people to be comfortable and safe in their housing. So I'm not going to say we're going to be, you know, it's going to be one of those things. We have to do it because this is what the procedures say. When people's incomes go up, they're supposed to report it and we're supposed to collect it. So we have to do what the rules say. So with the kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth right now, but just let you know, that's where the bulk of those write-offs are coming from Swanson, which is really the more tougher to look at. We've had 2 or 3 job fairs in the last month. We've had 3 job fairs in the last 12 days here in the city of Portsmouth, in the area. The housing authorities had one at Scope on the 1st of July. There was one yesterday at the Norfolk Naval Shipyard. There was one today at the Renaissance. We are hurting bad for assistant property managers, you know, 2nd level property managers, and we're hurting bad for maintenance workers, and we can't get anybody to apply, right? but we're in the same boat as everybody else is. There was only 12 people today at the hiring fair today. There was 18 people at the shipyard one yesterday, and I'm sure it was a handful at Scope. So, I am getting more phone calls than I care to get from residents talking about management at their property and the absence of management at their property, and the manager's not there. And I don't have any defense for it other than I'm just trying to find a manager for it. So, I'm asking y'all that, it is gonna be a challenge for Mr. Bland and Ms. Jenkins and Ms. Thomas and Ms. Winston on how do we lick this one? Because we're only as good as the leadership and the visibility of that leadership. And when you can't get them, it's hard to take the manager from Phoebus and say, okay, you gotta spend part-time over at Dale because they've got to train the person that's over at wherever. And I mean, as I said, I'm glad I'm not in the daily business, but you're only, we can give all the direction to Mr. Bland that we can give him, but if he hasn't got somebody to turn to say, now go make that happen. So I want to make sure y'all are aware of that. I'm not escaping the fact that we have a responsibility to the residents, right? And, but realize, whether it's Dale or Phoebus or Seaboard, this organization is really, really in need of people in this town. And I don't have solutions for it, but anything we can get, all right? All right, enough talking for me. Mr. Battle's not here. Councilman Barnes, did they give any indication at all? Okay, good. All right. Committee remarks. Rita, did you want to give the finance ones or?
Well, I think that, from speaking with Shannon earlier today, things are in pretty good shape. We have reporting that's ongoing and things are going on. So Shannon, could you fill in a little bit?
I just made them aware that we had two pieces of information from HUD. Our fiscal year 19 was accepted. Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
And that one took quite a while to get it finalized and pushed through. And the unaudited for 2020 was rejected the first time. We went back through, got everything, I think, pretty much situated, and it has been accepted. Right now, putting financials together, I have up through the 25th. I have a lot of deadlines to meet with the different investors, so I'm just putting together the second quarter, and then I will have some financials for you all next month.
Yes, I also asked her if there's any material discrepancies at any one of the properties, and there's no number that sticks out. So I always like to, again, back to that word material, so thank you. And we talked about the general unrestricted fund, which is kind of that extra money that we get from some of the sales that Philip does. We've been holding steady on that particular money. But again, to keep that, since I'm a numbers guy, realize what we have responsibility for. $200 million in assets and $28 million in operational revenue. This is a big company. So to be able to get a clean audit, to be able to get a 2019 numbers approved and 2020 preliminarily approved, that's part of our fiduciary responsibility to this organization, and making sure we got our fingers on the pulse of funding. And so thank you very much for everybody that's been keeping an eye on it. So thank you. Right. Development. Ms. Goss, when are you guys?
Sure. Yeah, so we were not able to hold our regular monthly meeting this month, but we did get just a really thorough update from Mr. Page earlier this week over email. We exchanged a few emails, but I'm particularly impressed with all of the work that they're doing. They continue to be, one of the tips of the spear here for this organization, and the successes that we're having are definitely coming from the development team. A lot of irons in the fire that we'll certainly hear about here shortly, but you just continue to be impressed with the work that they're doing here.
Ms. Goss, anything?
I just want to summarize the email that we got from the update from
Mr. Page.
Mr. Page, sorry. So the TCC tenant is now out, so we take over the building as of today. There's a showing for tomorrow. Working with our developer to convert to mixed use. We'll expect to bring proposals sometime at the next meeting. So we have a solicitation for bid for Swanson proposal expected to be the week of the 19th. And as far as the Churchland site, they're working with the developer to plan for senior housing, to finalize that. And then also for Lincoln Phase 2, they're working with the developer for that also for the senior housing.
Excellent.
Okay.
Very good. Any questions from the commissioners on development? Because it's one that gets away from us unless we really keep it in front of us. All right, but that's where our true operating, flexibility comes from. All right, it's from there.
Yeah.
Philip, is there anything at this point that you want to say? Okay.
I did wanna,
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead. Ms.
we had that briefly, the discussion. I looked at the city council meeting last night after the fact. And, I would like to see the board take under advisement actually deeding the famous building to the African American Historical Society for their museum. I know this is creatively different, but I think it would work well to have a museum for African American Historical Society there in the former famous building that as of tomorrow, the building will be vacant. It would mean foregoing revenue from that building, but I think it's a worthy cause, and I would like to see it discussed further. If that means entailing a discussion with city council, when you talk about putting retail on the bottom floor, certainly that could still be accomplished with retail on the bottom floor, but it is perfect to use as a museum where you display various artifacts pertaining to the historical influence of those who are from the city of Folsom. It's not a motion at this point, but it is something that I want you all to consider and think about. Because as of the presentation last night, the Historical Society was thinking that they would want to pursue the former sports center, which has the Welcome Center, and council was not obviously entertaining that. But this is a building that we control, and this is something that we could do that would bring about and create tourists, additional tourists to complement the Children's Museum as well as the Welcome Center. So after the developers will take it on.
Philip, as you have your discussions, please, this deference to Commissioner's request. Just place that there as one of the options that we have available to us. I know we're doing a feasibility study, right? If that type of thing could be at least passed to them, that comment has come up, and let's get some advice on it. All right, very good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Human Resources Committee. Do I have anybody here? You're here, Ms. Wentz? Okay. I know Sean has been.
Yeah.
I know he's looking to possibly move to Richmond, I heard. Yeah, wish him all the best. He looks like he's got a great opportunity up there, but he's still gonna try and make it. Yeah. Just saying.
Well, again, Mr. Bland and I haven't had a chance to meet yet, but we're still, Human Resources is such a broad committee and it's a lot entailed with it. We're planning to meet next week and go over some things and
Okay.
see what we can come up with.
Okay. Any comments from the commissioners, Human Resources?
Well, there's certain laws that went into effect July 1, so it's really critical. Even if you all have to bring in a consultant to get it done, I certainly would support that because the changes are very succinct. And we don't want to fall on the wrong side of ERISA. We don't want that.
Yeah.
So that means we have to get, hire a consultant to get us where we need to go, then I would support that.
And to echo the same thing, of course, we have to tread lightly here because, we got HUD regulations. Even though something's passed here, we gotta make sure it's passed here and passed there. And who we take the guidance
Mhm.
from. So, yeah, I think comment well said.
Okay.
The only two, again, I'm gonna keep on hammering that policy, that personnel policy. I'm still
Mhm.
waiting for some recommendations on y'all, because we still need to approve that personnel policy. All right, and, I'm gonna bring up one more time, or two more times, two other things. The health insurance, right? I'd just like a kind of a look at from your perspective, y'all's perspective, Ms. Wicks. And then, not having an HR manager. All right, just conversation, that's all. It's conversation. Be the housing committee?
Take it away, Director Jenkins.
Well, actually, I'm going to present the resolution.
Okay,
Anything
Okay.
over and above that, is there anything, y'all?
And Director Jenkins provided us
Yes, you did.
with a good
Yes, ma'am.
briefing. Voucher holders are having a difficult time finding units. And we have advised them of their options to transfer assistance to other jurisdictions as well as leases in Portsmouth. That's the resolutions. Housing Department is continuing to assist the residents with their delinquent rental accounts through the rental relief program. And you indicated, Director Jenkins, if you're working with the continuum of care to establish a memorandum of understanding for issuance of the emergency homeless vouchers. So did you wanna,
That's.
I can speak on that.
that's your,
That's section 8.
okay, that's section eight.
So we were issued some additional emergency housing vouchers.
Uh-huh,
And as a part of those, award, we have to work with the continuum of care. So the referrals come directly from the continuum of care. So we are working with them now for a memorandum of agreement on how that process will work.
okay,
So we'll issue the vouchers, they will screen them, make sure they're eligible for the program, then we'll issue the vouchers.
When you say they, is that coming out of PVH?
Yes,
Coming out of PVH?
no,
so-
not PVH, the continuum of care.
I understand, but I know the PVH is out of,
PHAC.
PHAC, well,
Yeah, PHAC.
okay, so just want to know of those alphabet soup. Which one,
Yeah.
which one?
Yeah.
If you could explain to the group here, what is PHAC? What,
So that is that's the homeless continuum of care for the city of Portsmouth. So every city has a continuum of care. And so they're comprised of, members from social services, Portsmouth, Virginia, Portsmouth Volunteers for the Homeless. We're participants of those, the Department of Behavioral Health Care,
Oasis, Oasis?
ACES, and many other service providers that work with the homeless. So we're required in the city of Portsmouth, anytime we get funds in to work with the homeless population, we have to have a continuum of care, and we have to work with those continuum of care members to get the vouchers and other resources and assistance out to them.
So from a 30,000-foot level, even though we would like to do something with the homeless, it's got to be run through this
Yes.
continuum of care.
Correct.
Because they have the overview of what everybody's doing, right? So that way, we want to serve meals to everybody. Well, that's not what the continuum of care needs, because all these organizations are providing food. They want us to do this. So in this particular case, they're telling us, you help us with the vouchers that we have for these homeless folks.
Right. So exactly, it avoids duplication of services.
Absolutely right, absolutely. So thank you very much. Who attends those meetings?
I attend those meetings as well as Ms. Jenkins and Ms. Thomas.
Okay. On the governance side, the only thing I have is September is our annual meeting. So we'll be looking at officers and when do we start looking at the 5-year plan, the action plan?
We have to have that plan to HUD in October.
Okay.
So we will start the process within probably the next 30 to 45 days because there is a comment period as well.
Now, do we vote on it? At
Yes,
the September meeting?
at the October.
October. Okay, all right, okay. All right, thank you very much. And again, I appreciate everybody's involvement. The emails, and I appreciate those ones that I got cut in on. I mean, it's just good, the dialogue that's happening. So thank you very much. Thank you for taking your time. Right. All right, Ms. Bland?
Okay, don't forget the November Governors Conference that's gonna be in Norfolk, if you're able to make that, that's right next door. And as the chairman mentioned, you can kind of look at the schedule for 2022 or the end of 2021 to see if any other conference you may want to go to. If so, let Ms. Marshall know so that we can get you ready for that. For the, and we cover all your expenses, travel, hotel, we give you per diem for food and everything else. So it's really not any out-of-pocket expense to you as commissioners when you go. And as the chairman just mentioned, they're very good conferences. You get to meet other commissioners from other parts of the country. And what it kind of do is when you hear what's going on, realize some of the problems we may have here, they have the same problems. And you develop relationships with those commissioners and you can bounce stuff off of them. And sometimes we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We kind of see what they had did and we can improve upon what they had did and stuff like that. I do it all the time with my colleagues, with the EDs. And when I run a hard problem, I just run by some of them to see what they had did.
The one area I keep my ear to the ground on is other commissioners, what is their relationship with their city leaders, right? We have some cities, I mean, their redevelopment housing authority does all their development for the city. Some of them, they only allow them to do housing, right? And then the amount of funds that they give, it goes from zero to their total budget. So it's just always interesting to hear, how they're funded and what kind of direction does their councils or their governing bodies give. So good, thank you. Right, I'm sorry.
Okay.
One more thing,
Yes, ma'am.
per our bylaws, the newest commissioners, you are required to attend one of those training conferences.
Yeah.
Per our bylaws.
Good.
The chair mentioned that, the dumpsters, Dale, we are waiting to hear back from the city. We were gonna, go ahead and, after working with Shannon, we figure we can have the money. We can get the trash cans back in, remove the dumpsters out. So hopefully hopefully by the next board meeting, we'll be able to say that, hey, we got that under control again, with the trash cans, replacing the dumpsters.
Will there be new trash cans they will be bringing back, or we have them?
The city will provide those cans. They're gonna provide.
You turn the old one,
Yeah,
so that means they're gonna have to be, stenciled and everything per.
yeah, they normally, yeah.
So I don't know how costly it is for the dumpsters, but having lived out there, I could see that the issue was there weren't enough dumpsters. Because you have one dumpster that's servicing like 2 sections and some people's and the kids, and it's just too far to walk and the trash gets thrown anywhere. So I assume that it'll be more cost effective to bring the cans
Yeah,
back.
bring the cans back. The other thing too, with if you look at, Dale, unless you have a way of getting the vehicles in, you just didn't be able to get the vehicle for the number of dumpsters that you needed, stuff like that.
Okay.
The staff is working with the residents to try to encourage them to take advantage of the rent money that's available through the state. Because we know that moratorium is coming to a close very soon. So we're hoping that, we have received some money from the state. Some of the residents have filled out all the necessary paperwork, and we got some money. But we are continuing to work, with the residents, encouraging them. We have identified everybody who are outstanding the balance. We have reached out to them to try to get them to, come in and fill out the necessary paperwork so that, this way, when we can get the money to catch the rent out. As mentioned, we are focused on senior developments, at various locations, looking over in hopefully over in the Churchill area, the Lincoln Park, Lexington Phase 2 and other areas of the city. Because we know that the fastest growing population are seniors, and affordable housing for seniors is very important. I fit that group of seniors myself. In a couple of years from now, I will be a senior.
It was a funny one.
Hopefully in the next 60 days, we would do another update on MTW. We put together our MTW plan and bring that to you so that you'll find, so that you can see where we're going with that. And also in the next, when we get the human resource meeting with Ms. Wick and myself, we'll come back with update on the health insurance. I will say our health insurance is, we come through the state of Virginia and we're governed by, the premium. We don't dictate what that premium is. For all of our, I will say this, for all of our, employees that are just employee only, we are required to pay 80% of that premium. So now if it's an employee with a spouse or foreign children, then we still have to pay 80% of the single premium. But beyond that, that's what we had to pay. But for all single employees, we had to pay 80, let's say at the premium $2,000, I'll use that as a figure, a year, we're paying 80%, but it's more than that. Our premium really runs roughly, what, about 500 or 600 some thousand a year, Shannon, if I remember? Yeah, yeah, it's for 8, and we have less than 65 employees for that, but it's very high. But we don't have control of setting our own. And we're governed by that. Just want to make the board aware of that. And sometimes you may hear some of the employees may say, well, they don't understand, but we're not the one that, we're in that pool with the state, Blue Cross Blue Shield. We're in that. And that is it. That's all I have. I think other stuff has already been covered, unless you have some questions for me.
I just had a question just with the trash can issue. I know they had the individual trash cans before. Was that better than the dumpster? Because I know they took it out. Why did they take it out initially?
Expense.
Cost.
Because it's
It really costs. It costs.
Dumpsters are cheaper.
And,
Going back to the cans.
Gotta- and I apologize to the board members, but, as you take leave, Mr. Plan, if you could just let all of us know.
Okay.
All right, if it's, let's say it's more than a couple days.
Right,
All
okay.
right, just so if we need to reach out to you, we know. I don't want you to stop any vacations you got, but just let us know.
Okay.
And just so y'all know, Mr. Bland does let me know, and I apologize for not letting y'all know.
Okay. And the last piece, we are actively trying to fill the positions. We had several jobs fair. When we talked to the other housing authority just within this region here, they have the same problem, getting folks to fill the positions. We're working very aggressively trying to do that, and we will continue to do that. So hopefully, we're hoping that, well, in the next 60 days, or not, at least 90 days from now, that we can have all our positions filled, and we will not have that void, but we are working on it every day. I can tell you that.
Would HUD have a problem if we worked with the sheriff's department in terms of maybe some of the inmates who are about to be released?
No, HUD doesn't have a problem. I have reached out to the sheriff's department
You have?
already.
Okay,
And right now that they haven't started that program back up yet, but they told me once they started back up, there'll be an opportunity where they would be able to provide some resource to the housing authority.
well, I was actually talking about maybe employment for some of the inmates who are about to be released.
Well, they had to go through our employment process. And normally, most of our main positions, those positions where, especially when it comes to mechanics, having their skills. Okay, actually do the work.
Right.
And we had several to apply, but sometimes they don't have those skills, and that's one of the reasons why we have allowed that board there, because, they gotta have, air conditioning, some air conditioning skills, some other skills, just do the basic, plumbing, maintenance work and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know it might be innovative, but maybe there will be an opportunity to have an on-site at the jail job recruitment for those who are about to be released and may actually have the type of experience. And some of the most well-trained, obviously, are those who, for whatever circumstances, they may be confined at the moment. And this might be a way to help them to see the light of day once they get out. So I would encourage you all to have a deeper discussion with, Sheriff Moore about the possibility.
Okay.
Yeah,
And could we train our own?
yeah, or even for training, yeah, yeah.
If we need to,
Something,
since we have, you know, there
Yeah.
might be a source of labor, they just need for want of training
yeah,
of
yeah,
some sort.
yeah.
Got it.
Mhm.
Correct, you want to move on to the resolutions?
Action item, resolution 2021. Bills.
Well, I'm glad to talk. I can take this down.
Oh, can we get it down when we toss that in, you know?
Resolution 2021-18 is a resolution authorizing the execution of an addendum to a contract we currently have, 2021-03, between the Housing Authority and People Ready, Inc. for temporary personnel services. And I think I don't have much to discuss because we've already covered what this resolution covers. I brought this resolution up earlier in the year. Back in March, you approved the contract with People Ready. What we're doing now is we want to amend the contract to extend the time and dollar amount, and any contract extension or change like this has to come before the board because it's over $50,000. And because we want to add an additional $168,000 to this contract. Hopefully, we won't have to use that all, but we need to have it there so that we can, if we aren't successful at hiring permanent staff, we can continue to recruit temporary personnel to fill these needs because it's a desperate need to continue the operations of the authority best way ever. So I'm here. This would increase the value of the contract to $253,000 total. That's a max. And like I said, hopefully, with all the efforts that are going into recruiting new staff, we won't need it, but we need to have it here in case we do need it. Because we don't, and we will need it to go back to June because we have actually have maxed out. And so we knew we wanted to bring this up here this month so that we can go ahead and continue the services of People Ready.
Questions, discussion?
I so moved.
Okay, we have the motions on the table for resolution 2021-18, authorizing the execution of an addendum to contract 2021-03 between Ports of Redevelopment Housing Authority and People Ready for temporary services. I have a motion from Vice Chair Roberts, and I have a second from Commissioner Wicks. So, Ms. Marshall?
Commissioner Barron,
Yes.
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggett,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Roberts,
Yeah.
Chair Lalonde.
Thank you, yes. All right, next is discussions about resolution 2021-19.
Ooh, good evening,
Well,
Commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the Lord, glad I can breathe. So we're requesting approval to write off 5 delinquent accounts totaling $25,255. Of this amount, $11,000 is rent, $11,097 is in retro rent, $1,000 in excess utilities, and $2,157 is in miscellaneous charges, which are due from former residents who have not lived in the authority's low public housing for a period of at least 6 months, or who are deceased. The amount of the rent to be written off represents less than 1% of the total rent posted, $752,696 during the last 6 months. The amount written off resulted from 3 skip outs, 1 voluntary move out, and 1 lease termination. Since January, staff have collected $8,164. The writing off of these accounts receivable will no way preclude our continued effort to collect money owed to the authority.
Question? Again, I think it's important what Commissioner Jenkins says. This is really to keep our books clean, keep our books current, but the collection actions still continue. And I think the major one we use is the Virginia income tax write-offs. We notify the state. that if they do an income tax return, that we get,
And then the debt owed from HUD, we put it.
yes, right, if they try to do anything through HUD, so, the collection action does stop, it's just a way for us to keep our folks current.
And the debt owed from HUD allows us,
Well,
if they
what-
go someplace else.
Right, in order for them to get housing, it would have to be paid.
Match up social security number.
All right, so I need a motion on resolution 2021-19, writing off uncollectible resident accounts for public housing, in the amount of, $25,255.01. Is that correct?
So moved.
Ms. Jacobs, I got a motion, second. Ms. Cross, thank you very much. Ms. Marshall?
Commissioner Barron,
Yes.
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggy,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Roberts,
Yes.
Chair Lamont.
Yes. Ms. Jenkins, still yours.
So the next, resolution is for the assisted housing. We are requesting approval to write off 7 delinquent accounts totaling $6,295. Of this amount, $3,940 is in rent, $519 in excess utilities, and $1,835 in miscellaneous charges, which are due from former residents who have not lived in the authority's low rent public housing for a period of at least 6 months, who are deceased. The amount of rent to be written off represents less than 1% of the total posted, $1,101,904 during the last 6 months. The amount written off resulted from 2 skip outs, 2 voluntary move outs, 2 lease terminations, and 1 death. Since January 1st, 2021, staff has collected $6,227. The writing off of these accounts receivables will in no way preclude our continued efforts to collect monies owed to the authority.
Any discussions? Again, this is a significant improvement from the last time. We had a little over 20,000 the last time, so, this is one we've done well, and those are, so I appreciate again the work that, the staff has done to collect the grants. So I need a motion for resolution 2021-20 resolution writing off uncollectible resident accounts, assisted housing in the amount of $6,295.69.
So moved.
Yep, all right. Second? Ms. Cost, we have a second. Ms. Marshall?
Commissioner Barron,
Yes.
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Jiggets,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Vice Chair Roberts.
Yeah.
Chair Lamont.
Yes, thank you. Any other final comments, Ed? Want to move on to public speakers? No? All right, thank you very much. Sir, are you here as a public speaker, sir?
No, I'm Cliff Pickens.
Cliff, it's good to see, I apologize, sir. You sounded still good and strong on the phone.
Yeah, I was listening in on the phone.
Yes, sir.
That whole time.
Mr. Pickens is going to be our newest commissioner starting in September, sir?
Correct.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you, I really sincerely appreciate the time that you're spending with us. We've just, I think, talked about some great things here. We've got some good things going. The one thing I always like to leave with is this is a $200 million company, and we do $28 million in revenue, in addition to having over 5,000 families that we support here in the city of Portsmouth. So it's a responsibility that all of us have taken very strongly, and doing and as we talked on the phone, security of our residents is what most think we're trying to do. But if you get a chance, get to meet the rest of the staff and rest of the commissioners, and I think the first dinner, he's the one who, first dinner he provides, right? Isn't that what it is? It's good. It's good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, rookie. So, PRHA allows 5 minutes up for public speakers, and I didn't see any online. I know we're gonna try and get the gentleman from the pilot here. We'd like to get him here, because we've had some good coverage lately, and just want to make sure we keep on talking about good things with him. All right. Do we have a closed session?
Yes.
Chair Lalonde, before we
Yes,
move
sir.
to that,
Yes,
there's
sir.
a bullet on the agenda about a meeting with Councilman Battle. Is there any, what is that?
No,
Okay.
nothing from that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So I have a resolution of intent to meet in closed session, whereas the Freedom of Information Act provides that the Board of Commissioners can meet in a closed meeting for the discussion or consideration of the disposition of publicly held real property, or discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body as set forth in section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia's amendment The matter for this discussion is the acquisition of real property located in Churchland. Now therefore, it be resolved that in compliance with the Freedom of Information Act and the above referenced section of the Virginia Code, the Board of Commissioners shall reconvene in a closed meeting on July 15th, 2021 for discussion of publicly held real property. All right, with that, we're now going to move to closed session. All right, so Clifton, thank you. I'm sorry I got to kick you out now.